Social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
Grace and peace, everyone. We are back. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. We're going to do something different. And I've asked many a time, hey, email management, if you have some new ideas, email management, if you don't know more about this story, so on and so forth. But shout out to 2 subscribers, Amethyst Angel and Miss Independent, because both of them sent me some fantastic articles that we're going to look at today, because this is something I didn't know about. And one of them is right here in my own state. And I don't even understand. I didn't know about this. So shout out to both of them and to the countless others that have sent me things in the past. I'm going to start maybe lumping them all together and calling it, I don't know, some kind of themed day. I want to call this one Trashy Thursday, but I don't know. Maybe we might stick with Trashy Thursday, Jason. I like that one. Anyway, with no further ado, the sanitation kerfuffle in Philly is up. They've taken care of it. The union has agreed, and everybody's happy. Sunshine and rainbows. Everything's good to go. Did you know that there was a sanitation strike in Boston, and it's been going on for 2 weeks? I didn't know. I didn't know this. It's been going on for quite a minute. So anyway, let's bring this in and let's talk about it for a quick second. Let me make sure I have this queued up. 1 second. All right, let's bring this in. With no further ado, here we go. They're having a garbage strike in Boston.
Well, tonight, people are frustrated as trash piles up in several communities in greater Boston. A strike by hundreds of sanitation workers is now entering its second week. There was relief for some people today, but as Tammy Mutasa tells us, it's nearly unbearable for others.
Tonight, trash relief came depending on where you live. Here along King Street and Peabody, trash is still piled up after more than a week, and Republic Service workers are still on strike for a 7th day.
It smells. It's bad.
While some streets are finally breathing the fresh air, it's still a stinky problem on this Peabody block, with trash piling up more than a week later.
I think they should have picked it up by now. I think they have to do a better job at what they're doing. I mean, there's animals all over the place in the neighborhood. It's not safe to be out.
While Republic Services garbage workers are on the picket line for the 7th day, the company had to start using employees from other states to collect trash piling up in 14 Massachusetts communities, including Watertown. Others, too, are stepping in to help. Jared Epstein has been in junk removal for years, but this week he's been adding trash pickup to his business portfolio.
If it's trash related, if it's garbage related, that's, my calling.
A calling that's turned into an influx of pleas to remove trash from stenchy streets in the North Shore for a fee.
Just want to help our community. I have so many repeat customers and longtime customers that are affected by the strike.
More than 400 trash collectors walked off the job last week, demanding better pay, benefits, and protections, saying Republic has refused to pay the same rate at 2 competing companies in the area. In a statement, the union president said, "We're not looking for Republic to pay more than others. We just want them to meet the standards we've already established in Greater Boston."
I hope the big guys help out their employees and take care of their hard workers. I know how hard they work. I do it myself. My guys do it every day with me. And I know what they deserve.
At the start of the strike, Republic Services said they value their workers and went into negotiations intending to raise wages.
I have a hard job. I don't want to do that job. So I believe they should get paid, but the city should be figuring out how to keep everything going as this is going on.
Neither side has said if progress is being made. In Peabody, Tammy Mutasa, WBZ News.
So I'm kind of interested because if you notice during this whole engagement right there, you didn't hear anything about Mayor Wu. Is she not involved in this? Kind of like Mayor Parker was in Philly. Why is Mayor Wu not entrenched, knee deep, dare I say, in this negotiation, strike, contract kerfuffle? Wonder why. Wonder what that is. Because I looked around and I actually don't see anything with Mayor Wu involved in it at all. And it's interesting because this is an election year. She's up for election. She's running for mayor again in November. Is this not related to her job? Is this not something that's equally as important to her as it is to others? I'm like, I would love to know. So, but I also didn't see any other mayoral candidates commenting either, if I want to be fair about this. So let's look at this other one. This is another, and I'm going to get out of here. Shout out to Miss Independent for sending these to me. And let's bring this in.
Well, trash is not being picked up in more than a dozen communities because of a strike. More than 400 workers from Republic Services walked off the job early this morning. WBZ's Penny Commit tells us what they are demanding.
Trash collectors throwing drinks and other objects at their own garbage trucks as over 400 Republic Services workers strike amidst an ongoing contract negotiation. This was the scene outside of their office on Route 1 in Peabody.
The trash issue is a complete mess.
The strike's impact is already being felt across Greater Boston. Nick Dixon is the culinary director of Broadway Restaurant Group, which owns popular spots like Lincoln in South Boston. Republic Services told WBZ that they have a contingency plan in place so trash would still get picked up. But when no one showed up by 6 a.m., Dixon says he had to hire a third party.
It's a lot of money.
The highlighted areas of this map show the 16 towns and cities who will have their public trash collection disrupted. Most of them are along the North Shore, including Gloucester, Wakefield, and Malden. Dixon says this highlights a larger problem.
We had one trash company that got bought by another trash company that got bought by another trash company. That became Republic Services. They have a monopoly across the entire city.
Republic Services employees are represented by Teamsters Local 25. They're demanding a contract with higher wages, better benefits, and stronger labor protections. Republic Services sent WBZ a statement saying they're disappointed by the union's decision to strike, adding, quote, "We currently provide our Greater Boston employees with competitive wages, an industry-leading healthcare plan, pension plan, and a generous time off and holiday plan. We value our employees and entered negotiations intending to raise wages."
Trash is like a huge part of every single business, especially the restaurant business, and it's just a disaster.
And the strike could go nationwide. Several other Teamsters across the country are in similar contract disputes with Republic Services. If that were the case, it would involve about 3,500 workers. In Peabody, I'm Penny Commit, WBZ News.
Yeah, because they're actually on strike in San Francisco Bay right now as well. Who knew? Who knew this, man? Like, how did this happen and nobody's ever heard anything about it? I have heard nothing about it. I thought that was wild. So shout out again to the fantastic subscribers and members of the channel that sent me that. I appreciate that very much. And what I want to do is now I'm going to jump to another article that was shared by an Amethyst Angel. I live here in Georgia and I had not heard this. Now, maybe it's because I wasn't paying attention to the news and maybe it was all over the news. I don't know, but this story right here is crazy. And it deals with cucumbers of all things. So shout out to Amethyst Angel down in the comments. Let me know, do you eat cucumbers? Do you use them, put them in cucumber water or cucumber salad, make sandwiches out of them? There are a lot of things happen with cucumbers, or make pickles out of them. I don't know. Anyway, shout out to Amethyst Angel for this. Let's bring this in. This one's kind of interesting. It's scary because this could be happening probably all over the country. We didn't even know anything about it. Here it comes. Let's go.
700 pounds of meth found in these boxes of cucumbers. It is the latest giant drug bust, with smugglers targeting produce being shipped to Metro Atlanta.
America, you're not going to believe what federal agents just discovered in a routine traffic stop in Georgia. An 18-wheeler packed with 30,000 pounds of fresh cucumbers heading to Atlanta grocery stores, except most of those cucumber boxes were stuffed with 700 pounds of pure methamphetamine worth $4.5 million. But here's what's going to make your blood boil. The ringleader running this operation had already been deported twice for drug trafficking, walked back across our border, and was using our food supply chain to poison American families while making millions of dollars in profit.
So we're getting new details tonight about a huge drug bust in Gainesville. Federal agents say it's all connected to a drug cartel. And the amount of meth they found is one of the biggest they've ever seen in that area.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story has a little bit of everything. Mexican cartel infiltrating our food supply, career criminals laughing at deportation policies, and 700 pounds of pure poison that was about to hit American streets disguised as healthy vegetables. This is exactly why we need to finish the wall and secure our border once and for all. Let me break down how sophisticated this cartel operation was. DEA agents found meth tightly packed in boxes of cucumbers. In each box of roughly 40 cucumbers, there were 4 packs of methamphetamine concealed within those 4 corners of the boxes in small rectangular shapes.
We seized over 1,000 boxes containing cucumbers, and majority of those boxes contain methamphetamine concealed within the 4 corners.
They seized over 10,000 boxes containing cucumbers, and the majority of those boxes contain methamphetamine. Think about the level of organization here. This wasn't some amateur operation. This was industrial scale drug trafficking using our food distribution system. DEA officials says this type of deliberate concealment method is used by cartels to avoid law enforcement detection. The cartels are constantly evolving their methods, and now they're literally hiding drugs in our food supply.
DEA officials believe it was a Mexican cartel who packed full an 18-wheeler in Mexico. Then that 18-wheeler passed it through the southern border, drove up through Georgia, where on Monday it was stopped in Gainesville. And what did officials and agents find inside this truck? A lot of cucumbers and a lot of meth.
The 18-wheeler contained 30,000 pounds of cucumbers in total, but the majority of those boxes contained meth instead of just vegetables. All 30,000 pounds of cucumbers had to be thrown away because the contamination of this particular drug in this operation. And here's where the story gets absolutely infuriating. One of the 2 men arrested, Rufino Pinenta Perez, was in the country illegally after being deported not once, but twice for previous drug trafficking convictions. This career criminal had been deported in 2001 after a marijuana trafficking conviction in Arizona, then deported again in 2019 after serving a federal sentence for trafficking cocaine.
Suspects were taken down Monday afternoon. They both made their first court appearances yesterday, and they're in the custody of federal marshals in Clayton County. One of those suspects was illegal.
So let me get this straight. This guy was deported for marijuana trafficking in 2001, came back illegally, got caught trafficking cocaine, served federal time, got deported again in 2019, and was back in the country running a $4.5 million meth operation in 2024. This is exactly what.
And you have to believe that between those breaks of him getting caught and deported, you can't tell me you thought he was just being a Boy Scout. So you know he was probably still doing whatever it was, the cocaine, the meth, the marijuana that was getting him arrested. Other times you can't believe that he wasn't still doing it, still trafficking it. That's crazy, man. I didn't know this, man. I'm embarrassed.
A wall and serious border security. The second suspect, Andres Gosef Jr., was also arrested and charged. Both men made their first court appearance and are in federal custody. If convicted, they face at least 10 years in prison, possibly life without parole. This case perfectly illustrates the revolving door problem at our southern border that we had under the Biden administration. Career drug traffickers get deported and just walk across the border to resume their criminal operations because we didn't have adequate border security. Federal agents believe this massive meth shipment is attributed to either the Sinaloa cartel or the Jalisco New Generation cartel. These are 2 of the most powerful and violent drug trafficking organizations in the world, and they're using our food supply chain to smuggle drugs.
Right now, investigators believe the meth came across the Mexican border, with the final destination being the Gainesville area.
We believe that this particular road is attributed to either the Sinaloa cartel or the CJNG.
This operation was part of a Homeland Security task force established pursuant to Trump's Inauguration Day executive order to protect the American people against invasion. This shows the level of coordination required to catch these sophisticated operations. The fact that this truck made it all the way from Mexico to Gainesville just shows how these cartels are using established transportation networks to move drugs across the country. The final destination was in the Gainesville area, which would have put 700 pounds of meth directly into the Georgia community. community. This wasn't the first time drug smugglers have used produce as cover. Just last summer, the DEA found drugs hidden in celery shipments. The cartels are systematically targeting our food distribution system as a smuggling method. This wasn't just a random stop. The Drug Enforcement Administration got a tip that led them to this massive drug bust in Hall County. The raid was conducted by Atlanta's Homeland Security Task Force, showing the level of federal coordination required to catch these operations.
2 men were arrested. One official said was in the country illegally. The raid was conducted by Atlanta's Homeland Security Task Force.
U.S. Attorney Theodore Herzberg told reporters that with more funding outlined in the proposed mega bill before the U.S. Congress, we could see more drug busts just like this one. He said we do expect the administration and Congress to support this initiative. It is critically important to our community and is already showing results. The level of detail in this concealment method actually stood out to investigators. They noted that this type of deliberate concealment is specifically used by the cartel to avoid law enforcement detection, showing how these organizations are constantly adopting their methods.
Agents say it is not uncommon for traffickers to hide drugs in food containment.
The investigation is still ongoing, which suggests that there may be more arrests coming as authorities track down the broader network involved in this particular operation. But the level of sophistication in this case shows how these operations are evolving. The fact that they contaminated 30,000 pounds of legitimate cucumbers shows how these cartels don't care about the food supply or public health. They're willing to contaminate our food supply to move their poison into American communities. This operation required coordination between multiple federal agencies, DEA, Homeland Security, Border Patrol, and local law enforcement. The fact that it takes this level of coordination to catch one truck shows how many similar operations are possibly getting through. The $4.5 million value in this single shipment shows the massive profits driving these operations. When cartels make millions from a single truckload, they have unlimited resources to corrupt officials, buy equipment, and develop new smuggling methods. The message from law enforcement is clear. They're adapting their methods to catch these evolving cartel operations, but they need more resources and stronger border security to truly be effective. America, this cucumber bust exposes everything wrong with our border security. A previously deported drug trafficker walked back into our country and was running a $4.5 million operation using our food supply chain to distribute poison to American communities. The fact that Perez had been deported twice for drug trafficking and was back running an even bigger operation shows our deportation system is meaningless without a secure border. Career criminals just walk back across and resume their operation. The sophistication of hiding meth in 10,000 plus cucumber boxes shows these cartels are treating drug trafficking like a Fortune 500 business. They have resources, organization, and logistics to infiltrate our food distribution system on an industrial scale. 700 pounds of meth is enough to destroy thousands of American lives and families. The fact that this was heading to Metro Atlanta shows how these cartels are targeting major population centers across our country, not just border states. This bust happened because of good intelligence work and federal coordination. But how many similar trucks are getting through? When it takes a multi-agency task force to catch one operation, we're clearly not catching them all. I'll keep tracking these cartel operations infiltrating our food supply. And remember, this is why we need serious border security to stop career criminals from walking back into our country to run a multi-million-dollar drug operation. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Shout out to Tyson Dela Cruz. And I'll drop the link to this article down in the to this video down in the description as well. But man, like, who saw that coming? Like, they're trying to smuggle through the cucumbers, y'all. This is crazy work, man. We must secure that border. Even if you are an open border kind of guy or gal, you got to see the problem with this. You have to see the problem with having a border that's wide open like this and allowing people just to get in and do whatever, all kinds of nefariousness. But I do want to hear what you all think. So please, down in the comments, let me know if you watched all the way to the end. Please leave me a green heart. Let me know that you watched this. Let me know that you like what we're doing over here. Thank you so much for subscribing and helping us hit our goal. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to celebrating 50,000 subscribers with you all real soon. Thank you so much to Amethyst Angel as well as Miss Independent for these fantastic articles. I'll keep trying to put them together when I get these from you all. when you email management at dearwokec@gmail.com. I'll try to make sure I put them together. Maybe make it a Thursday event or once a week, twice a month, something like that. Who knows? Let me know. I'm gonna call this one Trashy Thursday because I didn't know that Boston was having the exact same problem that Philadelphia has been having, and actually it's a little bit longer. So wow, as it is. So anyway, thank you so much for rocking with us. I'll see you all real soon. Grace and peace.